There are moments in life that split everything in two, before and after. This is a story about a man who laughed at the cross, who rolled his eyes every time someone mentioned the name of Jesus, who believed that faith was a crutch, something weak people leaned on when they couldn't handle the real world. His name was Daniel, and God wasn't done with him yet. Daniel grew up in a home where faith was spoken like a second language, at the dinner table, before bed, on Sunday mornings when the whole family would pile into the old blue minivan and drive to the little white church on Elm Street. His mother prayed over him every single night. She would press her warm hand to his forehead and whisper, "Lord, keep my boy. Keep my boy close to you." But Daniel was watching the world with sharp, skeptical eyes. And somewhere between his teenage years and the man he became, something hardened inside him. He went to college, made friends who called faith mythology, professors who smiled politely at believers while quietly implying they hadn't thought things through. And Daniel, who always wanted to be the smartest person in the room, slowly, quietly, put down the faith his mother gave him like it was something he had outgrown. By 32, he was successful. He had a good job, a nice apartment, a girlfriend who thought he was brilliant. He could argue against Christianity at dinner parties and people would nod and raise their glasses. He was proud of that. He didn't know that pride was the thing slowly hollowing him out. The first crack came in February. His mother called on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was soft, too soft. The kind of soft that means something is wrong before the words even arrive. "Daniel, they found something on the scan. Cancer. Stage 3. Daniel sat in his car in the parking garage for 20 minutes after that call. Just sat there, staring at the concrete wall in front of him like it owed him an explanation. He didn't pray. He didn't even think about it. He just sat there. And for the first time in a long time, he felt the awful, echoing emptiness of having nothing to hold on to. He told himself it was fine, that modern medicine was remarkable, that statistics were on their side. He flew home that weekend and sat across from his mother at the kitchen table and talked about treatment options and survival rates and clinical trials, and his mother just looked at him with those warm, patient eyes and said, "Daniel, I'm not afraid. Jesus has me." He looked away. He couldn't stand to hear it. The months that followed were hard. Harder than Daniel wanted to admit. The treatment was brutal. His mother lost weight, lost her hair, but she never, not once, lost her peace. She still asked him to pray at dinner when he visited. He would bow his head out of respect, but inside he felt nothing. Or worse, he felt irritated. Like the ritual was a performance. Like everyone was pretending. One night, late, he was sitting on her porch. She was inside, asleep. He could hear the oxygen machine humming through the window, and he looked up at the sky, a real October sky, all stars and cold and enormous, and something inside him cracked open just a little. He thought about his mother's hands, how they used to hold his when he was small, how she never once flinched from loving him, even when he came home from college with all his new ideas, all his dismissiveness, all his casual cruelty toward the thing she held most sacred. She never stopped praying for me, he realized. Not once. And something about that, the sheer, stubborn faithfulness of it, broke something loose in his chest. He didn't pray that night. But for the first time in years, he wanted to. It was a Sunday morning in November when everything changed. His mother had asked him, one more time like she always did, if he would come to church with her, and he almost said no. The word was right there on his lips. But he looked at her face, at how thin she was now, at how she was still, glowing with something he couldn't explain and refused to name. He said yes. The church was small, warm, the kind of place where people hug strangers and mean it. He sat in the back, arms crossed, feeling like an anthropologist observing a foreign culture. The music started, and it wasn't what he expected. It wasn't theatrical or manipulative. It was just honest. People singing like they actually believed the words, like they were talking to someone real. And then the pastor said something. He didn't preach a complicated sermon. He didn't try to out-argue anyone. He just said quietly, like he was telling a secret, "If you've been running from God, He's not angry at you. He's been waiting for you, with more love than you have ever felt in your entire life. And all He's asking right now is for you to stop running. Just stop and let Him in." Daniel felt something move through him like a current. He gripped the pew in front of him. His jaw tightened. His eyes burned. "Don't cry," he told himself. "Don't you dare cry." But then his mother reached over, frail, thin, beautiful, and took his hand. And she didn't say anything. She just held it, the way she used to when he was 5 years old and the world felt too big. And Daniel broke. Right there in the third pew from the back of that little church, a 32-year-old man who had spent years mocking the very name of Jesus broke completely open. He didn't have the right words. He didn't know any formal prayer, so he just whispered, barely audible, voice cracking apart, "God, I don't know if you're real, but if you are, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I need you. Please, I need you to be real." That was it. That was the whole prayer. But heaven heard every word. Something shifted in the weeks that followed. Daniel couldn't fully explain it, and he stopped trying to. He just knew that the hollowness, that yawning, echoing emptiness he'd been carrying for years without even realizing it, was filling up with something warm. He started reading, not to argue, just to understand. He started praying, clumsy, stumbling prayers that felt strange in his mouth but somehow right in his chest. And his mother. In December, the doctors ran new scans. The tumor had shrunk, not disappeared. They weren't out of the woods, but shrunk, significantly. The oncologist used words like remarkable and unexpected. His mother used a different word. She said, "Jesus." Daniel didn't roll his eyes this time. This time he bowed his head and wept. I want to pause right here and speak to someone watching this. Maybe you're like Daniel was. Maybe you've built a whole life on the idea that faith is for other people, simpler people, weaker people. Maybe you've mocked it, quietly or loudly. Maybe there's someone in your life, a mother, a father, a friend, who has been praying for you for years and you've never taken it seriously. I need you to hear this. God is not offended by your doubt. He is not put off by your anger. He is not waiting to punish you for the years you spent looking the other way. He is waiting for you the way a father waits for a child who has been gone too long, with the porch light on, with the door unlocked, with more love than you have ever let yourself believe you were worth. Your story is not over. Whatever has hardened in you, whatever walls you've built, whatever wounds drove you behind them, none of that is too much for Him. Not one broken piece of you is beyond repair. All He needs is the smallest opening, a crack, a whispered, "If you're there," He'll do the rest. Daniel's mother is still here. She's in remission now. She still goes to that little white church. And every single Sunday, she sits in that third pew, except now she's not alone. Daniel is beside her, every week. He told me once, his voice steady but his eyes full. I wasted so many years being proud of the wrong things. I thought faith was weakness. I had no idea it was the strongest thing I'd ever seen. My mother was sick and dying, and she had more peace than I had ever had in my healthy, successful life. That's not weakness. That's something I didn't have words for. Now I do. He paused, and then he said, "It's Jesus. That's the word. It was always Jesus." If you're watching this right now and something in your chest is stirring, don't ignore it. That stirring, that ache, that quiet feeling that maybe, just maybe, there's more to this life than you've allowed yourself to believe, that's not weakness. That's a door opening. Walk through it. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to whisper, "God, if you're real, show me." He will. He always does. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord, "plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11.